before, he didn't get the reps that those other guys didn't get because he wasn't through our off-season program. But as far as that goes, we're just taking it day by day right now.
Ooh, I got questions. You heard from Coach Culley himself there. As of now, Deshaun Watson in Houston at the practice facility and also on the field, despite that, you don't want your guy, if you're going to trade him, to be out on the field. They do that in baseball. We see it a lot there. No even discussion or thought about that down in H-Town. Appreciate you, Steve Weish, for being there and covering this from all angles. What do we make of Watson being out there?
That there's still a chance that he can play for the Houston Texans this season. Yeah, I mean,
he's there.
Yeah, he's there. He's on the field. And it's not just one of them things where I'm just here so I don't get fined and, I'm going to show up and I'll be sitting on the sideline because I have some type of quote-unquote injury that I won't disclose. When you're going through the drills and you're throwing the ball around, there is that possibility. And when you listen to David Culley, I mean, he's saying, listen, I get that there's trade rumors and the phone might be open for us to listen to other teams. But if he has a chance to be our quarterback, then he will. We forget just how good he was. Despite what's going on off the field, because we here at the table don't know, but we're talking strictly football in this segment. Like in his draft class, which includes Patrick Mahomes and Mitchell Trubisky, since the time they came in the league, Deshaun Watson leads them in passing yards. So if that gives you any clarification on how good he is, I think that's why the Texans, it's kind of like once he walked in, they're like, you know what? Hang the phone up. Let's ignore those calls and those trades that possibly could happen.
Yeah, definitely a glimmer of hope down in Houston right now for the Texans fans. The fact that he's out there, there is a chance that he could be your guy. And listen, without him, you're not relevant in the division. I'm sorry. With him, now you've got a shot at winning the division. And I think that's where it's kind of hard probably for Texas fans and for everybody else to kind of wrap their head around. Like, all right, what's going to really happen here? But I think for Deshaun Watson, I just think about this whole offseason, like he has to feel like he's under siege. And when this stuff came out and the information came out, everybody looks at Deshaun Watson completely different than we did back in February. And I think for him and as a player, to get back on the field and to be back doing what you love, like that's your sanctuary. And I'm sure for him, he's been counting down the days to when he could show up and get back out there on the field. And you can lock in at what you love to do. So I think it's big for him. And then, David Culley talked about it, like the ramping up process. You want to get traded and go to another team, you can't be sitting on the sidelines, not be in protocol, not be, the COVID testing that you have to be in. And then also you can't just take 2 weeks off and not play football and then get traded to another team.
You're taking valuable reps from the guy who's probably going to be your quarterback, Sean.
Yeah. That is tough. And I think the injury aspect of it is huge, too.
He had a practice injury.
Right. And quarterbacks usually, they don't get touched in practice. So if he's getting hurt,
his rookie year, this happened.
Contact injury.
Yeah. Does he want to be out? Like, there's 50 layers of this.
I don't think he does either.
I don't think he wants to be there. And if you were watching the live reports, weird stuff. Like in the middle of practice, he took off his red number 4 jersey and was just wearing a sweatshirt with the hood up in August in Texas. And then he was playing scout team at some time. Now, maybe they're just messing around or whatever, but I don't think he wants to be there. And I also don't really think they want him to be there. To your point, the baseball thing is real. Like, if you're going to trade Max Scherzer, you don't pitch him 8 2/3 innings right before the deadline because he might get hurt or his value might go down. And then last of all, I don't know if he might be untradeable right now. I don't know if you can trade him because say, okay, Denver comes up all the time.
Right.
Denver's saying, screw it, we're going to go for Deshaun Watson. I can't trade you all this stuff not knowing what his future is. There's no way. I want to sell you an Aston Martin. It might have 22 bombs on it.
Give me the Carfax.
No. Here's the Carfax. There might be 22 bombs that are going to go. What do you mean? I can't buy it. But they also might not. But 1 or 2 of them might go, well, I can't buy that car, but it's a nice-looking car. It's a great-looking car, but it's got bombs on it. I'm not trading for Deshaun Watson with this stuff hanging over his head because if I trade for him and then he gets suspended or then it goes criminal, it's a disaster. I don't know if you can trade him, but I don't know if you can cut him. It's total purgatory, and it's awkward as hell.
Well, I think the trade him for 3 first-round picks and more is where you run into this bomb problem. But if you tell me I can get that car that has 22 bombs on it for a great deal
I know. What's the deal, though?
I don't know. What I'm saying is
it's an Aston.
They have to trade him. They're taking valuable reps away from whoever's going to be the quarterback. He has said he does not want to be there by any stretch of the imagination. His rookie year tore his ACL in a practice.
Yeah.
I'm sure he doesn't want that. He probably doesn't want to get the fines for being out there. I guess the only thing I could think of, Kyle, is is this a leverage play? We might keep him So pick up the phones, get your offer out there. Otherwise, I have no idea what's going on.
I guess to your point, like if you wanted to trade him for really cheap, but then Houston gets totally screwed by this because we have to bring this up. The legal thing might be nothing. I don't know. And it might go away. And then you traded the best player you've ever had for pennies on the dollar. It's everywhere you go, there's a roadblock.
And that's what James Palmer said. He came in, he talked about both sides of it. And I think we're all saying the same thing. There's teams that are hesitant because they're like, all right, if I'm giving up 3 first-rounders plus some more, and just say one of these allegations is wrong, it's all bad. And now you're taking on the responsibility of trading for a guy that has some very serious allegations that turn out to be true. On the flip side, if you're like, hey, Houston, you guys got all these allegations, but as a team and organization, you're leaning on the Houston PD and the NFL's investigation, which have found nothing up to this point. And then it turns out that he's clear to play and these allegations, he's falsely accused. Now you get Deshaun Watson, a very happy one, who's out of Houston and playing somewhere else. And really, when a guy is playing for not just football reasons, but trying to go out there and prove once again, hey, these allegations were false, I'm going to go out here and do my thing on the field. The team could land one of the best quarterbacks in landing for a long time.
I know.
Just like what you were talking about with Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers, and we've got to go through all the options and you got to prepare for everything. David Culley's doing that.
It's a lot of layers.
Because guess what? To your point, if there is no repercussions from this, and it all ends up just being civil and not criminal. And Deshaun Watson doesn't get any good trade offers. He's your quarterback. And David Culley's, you got to go win football games. So he's trying to prepare, like, all right, I've got to get my team ready to play. Deshaun, if he is ready to play, he's got to be ready to play if he's available.
Fair. Didn't we hear that he wasn't going to play no matter what in Houston? Like from his some of his peers. I can't remember specifically right now. But
I remember in the middle of the draft when the Texans took a quarterback, Daniel Jeremiah said, every single person I've talked to in the league says there's no expectation he will play one down for the Texans this year. And I love DJ, but the plot is thickened, I think, that was back in April.
But so then it's a good sign for maybe the Texans that, like, maybe he can play here if he's on the practice field, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Because you're going to lose a ton of money if he sits out and says, I don't care if you don't trade me, I won't play.
Right.
Not that he said that, but other people were speaking for him that are near him. Then to Nate's point, it's a good sign that he is out there.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to get fined, too.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it.
Which means he'd play the regular season then there if he didn't get traded because he wouldn't want to lose those big game checks.
Can you play without a jersey?
I don't know.
Maybe he takes 0.
It's very, very messy.
We'll be tracking this.